haven't visited in the past, especially some of our newer ones. So if you can, please participate. We'd love to have you. Next up, we have Ms. Morelli's going to talk about our Tree City designation.
Yeah, so we received a letter from the Arbor Day Foundation. For those who aren't familiar with the Arbor Day Foundation, it's a global nonprofit. The intent of the organization is to inspire people to plant, nurture, and celebrate trees. So just reading from this letter, the Arbor Day Foundation named Clifton Park a 2024 Tree City USA in honor of its commitment to plant, grow, and maintain trees to benefit its community. I would note that this is the fourth year in a row this town has received that designation. The Vice President of Programs at the Arbor Day Foundation said this, and I would quote, "We all have a role to play in shaping our future, and tree champions like Clifton Park are leading the way. Trees are critical infrastructure, building resiliency and fostering good health in our nation's cities and towns. We're proud Clifton Park is among the Arbor Day Foundation's growing network of communities dedicated to creating positive impact through trees." So again, I just wanted to acknowledge that for the town. It's something that we have all earned as a town, as residents. We have a very robust and active tree committee who leads the way for us, and some of those members are here, and I'd like to, if I could get the town board and our volunteers to come forward. We receive a flag that we are going to fly proudly, and I would like to take a photo with it right now. But
Yeah. Stu. All right, let's get it right side up there. And face it. There we go. Come on in there, Stu. All right, how's it look, Mark?
Forget it. Very much careful.
All right, yep.
and again, thank you to these volunteers and all our volunteers on our tree committees who have been instrumental in us being awarded that for the last 4 years.
All right, so we have a couple of public hearings tonight. The first one is the Plan Development District application that's coming from Milton Cat. Milton Cat has been a longtime corporate partner of Clifton Park. They've been located at Exit 10 for many years. And we have a gentleman here who's going to talk about the application. How you doing?
I am well, thank you. My name is Brad Farron. I'm the corporate facilities manager for Milton Cat. And it doesn't seem possible, but it was like 25 years ago when we first came to town here.
Yeah.
We've grown an awful lot, as well as the town of Clifton Park has as well. And come before you tonight, we're looking to purchase a 2-acre parcel right next to our existing facility that will allow us to expand our existing facility and bring a couple other product lines. And we have a Milton Rents, which is a rental business, as well as Site Tech, which is the Trimble technology piece that's used on there. And we really need to do this PDD to allow us to have additional storage to be able to do the expansion. We were looking at trying to do a standalone Milton Rent somewhere else, and it was like, no, with Clifton Park, we're rooted here, it's where we're at, and we'd like to bring that business to town. And to do that, I can explain, or
Yeah,
what,
sure,
what you
please
need.
do.
So this is our existing footprint of the facility.
Yeah.
When you come in off from Commerce Drive, employee parking, equipment storage. This is our service facility and our warehouse. This is the parcel that we're trying to acquire that will allow us to do that. Put a 10,000 square foot addition on the back of service bays. When we built the facility originally, we did not put an elevator in, so the second floor has been largely unused. Put the elevator in, which would allow us to add more office staff and do the Milton Rents piece. And then in the warehouse, we've gone to technology. This is a lot bigger. We put in vertical lift machines to put technology into the warehouse, and that allows us to be able to to eat this up and move around, we need the additional storage area for the equipment. It's really pretty straightforward.
So you have an addition on the back of the current building and then some additional storage outside of that structure, right?
So one of the things I realized, as we're working with VHB and talking to folks here in town, right, this is the first step of the zoning so that we can do the PDD and do the purchase and sale. We understand the entire planning board process, stormwater, landscaping, all of that stuff. This is the parcel. So what we talked about doing for this here and presenting is actually right now, this is wooded and trying to stay into the green space piece is add this as a buffer off of Usher's Road and not develop this piece, but continue our development where we've already got equipment storage.
Right.
As a thought, and try to keep that as a buffer on that side of it. But again, we know we got a long ways to go through that whole design piece.
Right. Yeah, this is part of the zoning process in this particular situation. Site plan and all of the other approvals by sister agencies would be done through a planning board process. John, do you have any comments on this project?
No additional comments other than the draft PDD language basically expands the geographic area to allow the Milton Cat use to extend onto that new 2-acre parcel. So that's the change in a nutshell, but Milton Cat's been a great corporate citizen to the town of Clifton Park, and hoping to have them grow and continue to be successful for many years to come.
Yeah. Any questions from the board?
I mean, I would just, first of all, thank you. I would just comment, I did have the opportunity to drive over there this weekend in anticipation of tonight. Obviously didn't get past the gates, but I would just commend, what you already have there is very well secluded, it's back, it's clean, it's organized. The buffer, the wooded portion, you wouldn't even know it's there if you're just driving by Usher. So I know that's something you guys strive to do, you'll continue to do that, and as our planning director stated, you've been a great partner for the town, and I think this makes sense moving forward.
Yeah, and we certainly appreciate the fact that you're maintaining the buffer to the roadway for aesthetic reasons and some separation between the operation and the roadway. But overall, as was stated, 25 years in the town. I've never had any issues or complaints that I can, that I can remember anyway, since I've been here that entire time. And just a solid business who's done a very good job working with the town over the years when need be. So, is there anything else, any other details you want to talk about, or?
No, I think, like I said, through the process, we go to this and do the purchase, and we'll go through the town process, and once everything gets through, we'll get you on the other side of the gate and get you on a piece of work.
Better train them first.
All right.
As PDDs go, this is a pretty straightforward application and not nearly as intricate as you normally expect from PDD applications in general. So not a lot to this one, but it's pretty well laid out and simple to follow. Any other last minute comments, questions? Okay. At this time, we'll ask if anybody else has any comments or questions. Please come forward, raise your hand. I'll ask you to come forward, and please state your name and address for the record. Oh, that's right. We got to read the notice first. Let's read the public notice first.
Notice of public hearing to consider adoption of a local law establishing the Milton Cat Land Development District. Please take notice that a public hearing will be held by the town board of the town of Clifton Park on April 7th, 2025 at 7:02 p.m. in the Wood Memorial Meeting Room in the town office building located at 1 Town Hall Plaza, Clifton Park, New York, at which time and place public comments of the town board may be made with regard to an application for the establishment of a planned development district, for future expansion opportunities consistent with uses allowed within the L1-2 zoning district. Copies of the proposed local law to be considered may be inspected at the office of the town clerk of the town of Clifton Park during normal business hours. That was advertised in the Friday, March 7th Gazette.
Very good. Now we'll take any comments at this time on this matter. If you'd like to, please raise your hand. I'll ask that you come forward. Anybody that would like to speak on this matter? Okay. Any other comments from the board? All right. Seeing that, we'll close the public hearing. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Our next public hearing is to consider a 180-day moratorium on battery storage systems facilities within the town. If you would please read the legal notice as it appeared in the Gazette.
Notice of public hearing to consider a local law establishing a 180-day moratorium on battery energy storage systems facilities. Please take notice that the town board of the town of Clifton Park will conduct a public hearing on April 7th, 2025 at 7:05 p.m. in the Wood Memorial Meeting Room in the town office building located at 1 Town Hall Plaza, Town of Clifton Park, County of Saratoga, State of New York, whereas the town board seeks public input and discussion regarding a local law establishing a 180-day moratorium on such operations within the town of Clifton Park. Copies of the proposed local law were posted on our bulletin board online and are also available to review in the town clerk's office during normal business hours, and that was advertised in the Friday, March 21st Gazette.
All right, thank you. This subject has been an item of discussion at recent town board meeting. We got into a lot of the details, concerns, and issues revolving around this topic. And this public hearing is specifically to consider a 180-day moratorium on battery energy storage system facilities. And the reason for doing a moratorium would be to allow the town some time to study this issue and incorporate and consider any changes in our code regarding these facilities. So at this point, we'll take public comment. If you'd like to speak on this matter, please raise your hand. We'll ask that you come forward, state your name and address for the record. Please keep it to 5 minutes or less. And again, this is about the battery storage system facilities. Mr. Alexander, how you doing? Good.
Well, I'm sorry I don't have paperwork for you. I've had a problem with my printer, and Apple doesn't come.
Oh, you gave us some before.
Yeah, I did. My name is David Alexander. As you know, I've been a resident of Clifton Park at 14 Berkshire Drive since 1987. I'm educationally and professionally trained in environmental sciences and engineering. I've been working since the early 1970s in that capacity. Over the last 30 years, much of my work has been related to the electric generation and distribution industry. I've worked on probably 15,000 megawatts of generating capacity throughout the United States, and a lot of distribution systems as well. For the last 22 years, I've been a consultant for the PJM Interconnect, which is an independent system operator. It's essentially the quasi-public, private regulatory agency that governs the distribution and transmission of electricity throughout the PJM region. The PJM Interconnect region is all the states from the East Coast to Michigan, so it represents about 25% of the population of the United States. My job with PJM, I don't actually work directly for PJM or for a consultant who works for PJM, is to do what's called the cost of new entry, which is an annual technical review of the major generating technologies. We look at the pros and cons, the environmental issues, the cost of all that. And that goes into a report that sets the cost of new energy that actual facilities bid against. So we make a model plant, cost that model plant, and then real facilities, like Dan owns a facility, he bids against those model plant costs to determine how much of his electricity gets bought into the marketplace. That happens every year And then every 4 years, we do what's called a quad review, which is an even more in-depth review of the technology. Issues we might look at, for example, with offshore wind, we've looked at decommissioning. Now we're looking at the problems associated with battery plants. I just had a conversation today with my client about that I will reflect on in a moment. I do support a temporary moratorium on siting best energy facilities in Clifton Park. I don't, in the long haul, object to the concept of good battery facilities. They will eventually be necessary. But there's a lot of difference between technology that we know how to apply. I know when I get out and get in my car, I've built them, I know how they perform. With battery plant, very few of us would understand that. I think at our, on the 24th, we had a nuclear engineer from a submarine sitting next to us who said, I manage battery plants. So it was interesting hearing him give us some feedback personally. One of the pieces of information I've discovered recently is the Electric Power Research Institute, which is the organization that represents essentially 95+% of all the generators in the United States. They're members that provide money to EPRI. EPRI does technical studies on behalf of the industry. EPRI is now studying the problems with best storage technology, battery storage. They began to develop a database on incidents that have happened worldwide back in 2021. That database now has 95 major generating facility incidents all over the world, and 35 that are, if you would, related, transportation related things, storage related. So as we get more information, we're starting to learn more and more about why these incidents occur. And they're in the midst of doing what's called a root cause analysis, looking to the best they can at what information is available to say how and why these events occur. And there are clearly quite a number of events that can theoretically occur with a battery storage facility. One of the problems that EPRI has in putting this database together is that many countries that have these facilities have languages dissimilar to ours, and there's a major communication problem. Getting, for example, information on a Chinese plant that just had an explosion. So there's a lot of real data that exists in the world that EPRI does not have in its database as of yet, but hopefully over time you'll get more and more of that included. Battery fires are essentially uncontrollable. They don't respond, they respond only minimally or not at all to water suppression. Often water suppression is halted at actual battery fire events because it doesn't do much in the way of any good. If you can keep the cases cool, you might help some, but everything that comes out of the battery goes into the water, and then you've got a disposal problem for the water. Once a battery fire has started or an explosion has started from the fumes that the batteries will generate, these events often go on for a long period of time. Moss Landing burned for 5 days in January and then reignited on February 16th and burned for 3 more days. These are uncontrolled fires. The Gateway Power Facility in Otay Mesa exploded and burned for 14 days uncontrolled. And in the meantime, most of the area around the plants are being evacuated. So people are being put out of their homes, businesses are being shut down. In the case of Moss Landing, they closed the highway, and that's a major event. If you've been down the Pacific Coast Highway, you only got a couple of ways to go. So one of the issues with respect to events from a battery incident would be the release of a wide range of pollutants that we really don't have a great understanding because of the high temperature regimes that these things are created at. Typically, you'll see hydrofluoric acid, which is highly toxic, can be very deadly in a contained environment. You see hydrogen cyanide gas. You see the very fine microparticles that are very deeply respirable. So if you're anywhere around a battery fire, you want to get the hell away from there, including your Tesla or your EV or your Ryobi tool out in the yard. Just stay away from it until it burns itself out. If you treat it with water, you're likely to result in a heavily contaminated water stream. If you, like Moss Landing, it would have taken 1 million gallons to douse that, if that would have been sufficient. So all of that water is going to go someplace. If you're going to contain the water, you've got a treatment problem. If you're going to let the water go, it's going to go into some water course someplace. First responders, firefighters, hazmat personnel have been injured in these incidents. They're often ill-trained to respond to an event that has so many nuances to it. The event doesn't have a normal firefighting sequence to it. There's no direct nexus that's been established yet between how old the batteries are and whether an event occurs. So we can't just say, well, as they get old, they're more risky. There's no direct nexus yet connected. Once the facility has been heavily damaged, it's not recoverable. As a general rule, these are total facilities. Moss Landing will be $100 million total loss, and it's going to end up having to be reclaimed, material sent out for reclaim or disposed in a landfill or some other significant disposal event, and that's going to cost a fair penny. And the question will be, who's responsible for that fair penny? So I've put together what my thoughts are on what Clifton Park should do. I think the moratorium is fair. It doesn't close the door for the long-term approval of BEST. It allows the town the time to acquire information, to review documents, to interview the right people. I think you should empower somebody within the organization, a town individual or a group who has some technical knowledge, and I can help them understand where to go get some of the information they might want to get. EPRI is a great source for the information. Some of the national firefighting associations are good sources. The issue of insurance. I was on the phone today with my client talking about BEST events, and he's decided to go back and talk to PJM about dramatically upping the insurance requirements for BEST facilities. Now that only makes sense because if you know you're likely to have a problem, you want to have a higher insurance load for it. It's not just the insurance, it's also the cleanup responsibility, the decommissioning, if you would. You've heard me talk about decommissioning other facilities in the past. Decommissioning a battery plant of any consequence would be quite an endeavor. Once the battery plant has been determined to be decommissioned, since most of these will be owned by LLCs in New York, they're going to have very limited or no assets other than the plant itself. What recourse does the town have financially if it hasn't made those assurances up front? And clearly, you're going to have to look at town codes. You're going to have to look at the ability to be able to review these facilities before they want to site. What changes should there be in town codes? What changes might you want to have in zoning? I will tell you that wherever there's a solar farm, somebody's going to want to put a battery plant. Wherever there's a hydro dam or a river, somebody's going to want to put a battery plant. Wherever there's a substation with excess capacity, somebody's going to want to put a battery plant. And what you won't know is that the warehouse down the street has now received a load of 9,000 pounds of batteries that it's putting in storage because it knows it's got clients out there who will be buying some replacement batteries. So you're going to have a lot of batteries in transit through this area, particularly because we're the north-south and east-west main connections. And I'm sorry for overextending my time.
No, if you could, any of that information that you haven't already provided, please.
I
appreciate it.
One other thing I think I wanted to mention is that I found a reference to what's called marginal reliability index, which is a number being used to represent how much of one generating technology you'd have to have offset another. And for BEST facilities, for battery storage facilities, the minimum amount of offset you would, if you had a gas-fired turbine over here and a battery facility here, the battery facility would have to be 8 to 10 times larger than the gas turbine over here to give you the exact same amount of generating capacity in the reliability assessment that each one of the ISOs have to do. That's a requirement they have to do. We're a small part of that. They do it every year to determine whether they meet the reliability requirements that FERC imposes on all of the ISOs.
Very good.
So
Appreciate it. All right, very much. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Dan, did you?
Take one, pass it on.
Good evening, Daniel Mathias, 7 Birchill Road, Ballston Lake, Town of Clifton Park. I'm a member of the Conservation Commission as well. I just would like to thank the board for scheduling this hearing. As you know, we presented on the February 24th, I think it was. So the responsiveness of the board to consider a moratorium, I think, is commendable. I won't go through any more of the details about the fire that got my attention when Dave mentioned it out in California. Except to say that since that fire, residents have reported symptoms of burning eyes, headaches, nosebleeds, etc. And then the scientists that have been testing marshlands around the plant have discovered high concentrations of nickel, manganese, and cobalt in marsh soils. The investigations into the cause of the fire are still ongoing. Coincidentally, in January 2025, the town of Waynesburg passed 3 laws prohibiting the construction of commercial-scale battery energy storage systems due to the public safety concerns. They justified the ban based on the fact that they lack the resources to combat a fire at the facilities should one ever occur. In Dwaynesburg, the majority of the town has no public water and available for firefighting, and they rely on volunteer fire companies for their fire protection. This situation is similar to what we have in Western Clifton Park. As an aside, right after the fire, the towns of officials in San Luis Obispo and Orange counties in California enacted moratoriums on these facilities right after the fire. So in summary, I think what this fire has done is focus utilities, regulators, and lawmakers' attention on lithium battery safety. The energy industry and legislators will use the incident as a learning opportunity and push for improved safe operations of these multi-gigawatt projects that are needed to meet the targets that New York State and others have established for clean energy. A moratorium will enable the town to take a thorough examination of these systems to identify the possible threats to public health, safety, and welfare, as well as evaluate the potential for environmental impacts. The moratorium will also preserve the town's ability to address unique needs and concerns of the community and potential risks that must be addressed by any future battery energy storage systems regulations. So I urge the town to pass this moratorium. I think it'll be a good thing for us to step back. 12 other towns in New York State, at least, have similar moratoriums in place today. So I thank you for taking the time to schedule this hearing. I just would like to point out, in addition, one of our other members of the Conservation Commission prepared a letter which was dropped off to the town clerk earlier today on this topic. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Schwartz, you have your hand up.
Supervisor Barrett, members of the town board, ladies and gentlemen. I am Kurt Schwartz, and I think I have engaged all of you, some more frequently and some more recently. Let's take a deep breath. Before I start, I would like to thank the 2 previous speakers because I will have to add little to it. I don't want to replicate. They particularly did things in much more detail than I was going to, and I thank you both for it. Let's take a deep breath, a step backward, to realize that already there are 2 ongoing dynamics that serve to complement the moratorium concept. First, as Dan has already spoken, there are several communities in New York State that have already utilized this moratorium tool to adequately study the lithium battery issue. There used to be an association, New York State Towns and Villages. Does that still exist?
Yes.
So you have an avenue in to collaborate with these people. We don't have to reinvent the wheel and start over. We can take what they learned, we can prioritize, form an action plan, preliminary action plan, and start to work constructively to look at this thing from a bigger picture and not have to have it all crammed into the tail end. Second, you are all aware of the town's engagement to develop an agricultural protection plan. Several of you are well aware of this and actively engaged in the process. So let us be patient, use time, the planning process, the consultant's professional staff experience, public constituents engagement as contributors toward navigating this road that we see at the end, which still is far off twinkle. The presumed project location that I understand in itself is not an edge erosion of agriculture, but thrusts a cookie cutter at its center, involving parcels within the agricultural district, deep into the greenbelt, and the conservation reserve zoning. Principles of open space protection, established over 3 decades earlier, are now being challenged. Engagement with a wide range of affiliates are apt to be the best source for an unbiased act of information and knowledge we seek to deliberate and decide. Careful study of this technology is compulsory, but it has already been explained in much greater detail. The temperatures, the fire risks, the extinguishment, and the toxic potentials of hydrogen cyanide, etc. Having written all this, I came up with 3 questions, but I'm certain that 3 questions is, you've been bombarded by questions. But let me speak to them anyway. I remember reading some months ago of a electric-centric project. Don't remember if it was a battery storage project, but something that consumes large amounts in a rural area. And a person who said they lived a quarter of a mile away was constantly bothered by the gray noise that they could hear 24/7. So if this operation is to that extent, I don't know if it is, it's something to be considered at this time. The containment in the event of what if. These reports can be collaborated, but what if we have contamination or foodstuff deposits on locally produced and unharvested crops? Something to be considered. Not limited to fruits and vegetables, as Ms. Reed may choose to collaborate. Horses, cows, sheep, and goats are grazers, and how this may affect the forage consumed, how this may affect animal health, their productivity, or the human consumption byproducts is worthy of mention at this time. Do emergency services, EMS, fire, and law enforcement, have the necessary education, training, experience, and pre-planning? And do they have specialized equipment on hand to responsibly, perhaps not extinguish, but to interact with the hazards potentially liberated via damage to this infrastructure? I am very certain that questions on affiliated issues have been bombarding your minds. I would like to close with, let us all proceed on this journey with the notion of doing the job before us correctly, so the outcome will withstand the test of time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hey, John, are you able to unplug this laptop?
Actually, on the TV remote right there, we can just turn it on.
I mean, it's very nice. It's a little distracting, but not, not too bad.
Thank you, John.
Yeah. When the screen went off, there we go. See, I knew he could do it. I knew he had the technology available. Thank you, John. Anyone else? Yes.
evening. I'm Joanne Coons. I live at 4 Balsam Way, Clifton Park. I guess people are credentialing, so I teach renewable energy at Hudson Valley Community College. And I did want to speak to a couple points about the moratorium. I am thinking that the facts really are very important here. I think maybe a moratorium is important to do because education is the key to understanding, and I think we have to all get educated on this. And I kind of feel scared after listening to the speakers, but it does not jive with a lot of the research that I've done. I sent you all an email, but I'm not sure you can get it. You did? Okay, great, because some of my emails aren't going through, so I was concerned. So hopefully I had a second to read some of that stuff. And I guess the point, first off, I'd like to talk about the Moss Landing. Moss Landing was a repurposed gas facility that they threw the lithium-ion batteries into. And that is poor siting because they really should be all self-contained containers. And that is the recommended way to install these. So the installation was faulty to begin with, which contributed to the catastrophic failure of that particular site. So lesson learned, we don't do that anymore. As far as the monitoring systems go, I have a report from Fire Risk Alliance, LLC, that was completed April 1st, which shows that the testing of the site doesn't indicate any toxins. So I need to read whatever they're reading because I've not found that, and do some more research there. Thus the moratorium is probably a good idea because there seems to be conflicting reports of the situation. So let's get it straight first before we start making decisions. I did just hand out the first page of this NYSERDA handout, and I know John, I'm sure, is aware of all this stuff because he's on top of everything. But NYSERDA's published a 66-page recommendation for New York Battery Energy Storage System Guidebook, which will address and give you a model law, which is very complete and based on other people's experiences. So they've already investigated what to do, and we can learn from the best practice. Battery energy storage system model permit. So when somebody wants to put in a battery, there's proper permitting procedure. Battery energy storage system electrical checklist, which is important so that you don't miss anything. And lastly, the State Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code, the 2020 edition, is incorporated in this for code work. So that's being addressed. So it's 66 pages. It really addresses, I think, all the really essential siting and commissioning and such of battery storage in towns to make it safe. Trying to think of, okay. We also have a resident. His name is Bill Ackert, and he lives down Fisher's Ferry. He is the executive director of New York BEST, which stands for Battery Energy Storage Technology, and it's a really great organization. He's it's a consortium of lots of brainiacs about batteries, and here he is, our town resident. So I really think he should be consulted personally because he really knows a lot about what is on this topic. So that might be a recommendation I would make. Another thing I wanted to mention is Texas is the biggest installer of batteries in the country. I think people think Texas is probably not on board with renewables, but they're also very big on solar too. So we can look to them, and there's a reason for that. It has a lot to do with their ISO and their grid. Yes. So I really feel sometimes we worry about the wrong things in life. For instance, if I'm going down the Northway and there's a fuel truck in front of me, I either pass it or I get way back, because if it's an accident, I don't want to be behind it. We have bomb trains going through, our train tracks. I think you know what a bomb train is, right? And, they're the big black cylinder train. They're carrying the tar, sands, and the oil and stuff. So they get derailed. I'd be a little worried if I lived near there. I also have some statistics that out of 100,000 deaths, because we're going to compare apples, not apples to oranges, There's 35 battery deaths out of every 100,000 deaths. There's 335 due to fossil fuels. So when we look at renewables and batteries and other things, we have to put it in perspective. How dangerous is this? I know I don't want to take any danger, don't get me wrong, but we're dealing with a whole bunch of other real dangerous stuff, and we don't even bat an eyelash about it. So I'm not saying just go ahead and put in batteries. We have to do it thoughtfully, but I just wanted to bring to our attention, what do we emphasize in our life? Let's see what else. All right, I think that wraps it up for me as far as.
Well, if you want to have that gentleman send me an email or give me a call, and we
I'll try.
can include him in the process.
Yeah, I did
The
see
name
him
doesn't
on
sound
the
familiar. I might know him by
He
sight.
lives down
but-
Fisher's Ferry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know?
Sounds very
Yeah.
familiar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
I
familiar
trained them
name.
at Fisher's Ferry store. They always hang out down there, so.
Oh,
Yeah,
all right.
no, he's a really great guy, so thank you. I will do that.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, great. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else on this matter, please? Yes, Mr. Bowman, how are you?
I'm good, how are you, sir?
Good.
I'd like to take a brief 20 minutes and,
You,
seriously, I don't have a lot to say.
20 minutes?
Well, yeah, give me 3 and we'll be good. Just a couple things. I would applaud the town board for applying the moratorium, not just for giving you the opportunity to study this, but giving us as the fire district, Kevin Bowman, chairman of the board, Fisher Ferry Fire District, giving us the opportunity also to study this. Currently, I have 10 members on their way in the morning to Indianapolis for training on small battery systems for residential that you would put in your garage, etc. Because we don't know enough about that. I can tell you by firsthand experience that a little Honda EV takes more than 10,000 gallons of water to try to extinguish. So it's not something that's, I can put out a car fire that's gas powered very easily. Very difficult to put on an EV. Something that we're learning more and more about. And of course, when you're dumping that much water on something, it's got to go somewhere. And so there's pollution, et cetera, coming from that. So the idea now is that around this car, we build a tank, we fill it, and we leave it there for a day. And according to New York State, that vehicle cannot leave unless we follow it to its final destination, where it needs to be stored 50 feet away from any building, any other car, anything else. I don't know what we're going to do with a huge battery system that's a permanent structure. So I applaud you for looking at this, and we certainly support the moratorium to give us all the chance to get some education on this.
Yeah, that was part of our discussion at the town board meeting where this topic was reviewed, was as far as the fire companies are concerned, how much knowledge do they have, right? Because this is new to Clifton Park, and it's new to across the country. But what is the level of expertise and knowledge that you and other firemen have as far as dealing with the type of fire that has been described tonight? And so part of this moratorium is also to get some feedback from the fire departments to let us know what your comfort level is, what kind of training you've had, if any, at this point, because it is so new.
And it is new, and actually the training is not available at this time yet.
Oh,
So,
it isn't? Okay.
Not that we found.
Okay.
Like I say, we have people that are working on it in a small residential system.
Right.
You take 50 acres of solar panels or something, and
Yeah.
we just don't know what we're supposed to do yet.
Well, that should be factored into our thought process.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point.
Yeah.
For sure. So,
yeah.
And thank you for entertaining us.
Other than it's going to be difficult.
It's not going to be easy.
Right. That we know. So that.
Yes. I was wondering, it's great information, everybody. Very nice. So there are so many battery operated cars running Tesla, Cybertruck, a lot of EVs. So if there is a fire in the car, like in 87 North or Clifton Park area, seems like our firefighter is not fully equipped to turn off that fire.
No, we're equipped to turn it off. It's just, at this point, it's copious amounts of water. Or you have to actually purchase a blanket that you cover the car with, which is a one-time use type thing for about $8,000. So it's not something that's cheap. It's not something that we want to put the burden of our taxpayers. Number one, how many of these do we need to store? At one time. Fortunately, we don't have a ton of incidences, but we have had several. So, you're welcome.
That's an expensive blanket.
It's a very expensive
Yeah.
blanket.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
You want to buy a Cybertruck?
Yeah, right. No, I won't be buying a Cybertruck anytime soon. Anyone else? Frank? Oh, right, he's ceding his time. But he's not gonna give you any time, he was just gonna let you go first.
Frank Berlin,
Hi, Frank.
9 Main Street, Jonesville. Hey, thanks a lot, guys. First of all, I was listening to people what they're saying. If you have to provide these fire equipment, then the guy that causes you to have to provide it should provide you with the equipment. So me as a taxpayer does not want to buy the blanket. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that whole deal should be thought into the process. I did talk to another fireman about car fires, and he said that those people were damaging these battery-operated cars across the country.
Oh, yeah.
But it took this out. This is quote. I don't know how true it is. It takes 8 guys to put the fire out, and they have to. It's like a loaded bomb. It's so dangerous, they said, and they had to soak it in salt water. Kevin, I don't know if that's true. Is that so? And then you only have a few. But how many cars do we have if we already have them? If we all had battery cars, which some people wish we had, how many buildings do we have? And if you want to build a building, why don't you build it right down in the shopping center? Why do you have to put it out in the farmland? Because it's dangerous. That's what's going on. What bothers me is they call it a farm, a solar farm. I listened to the public radio, and they talked to the solar guy, and he said that the lady said, "Well, what about good farmland?" He said, "We only use this land that's not good, it's fallow land." Once he said that, I don't care what he said anymore because that's baloney. You know what I mean? Once you lie to me, I'll tell you, you got a hard time swinging around. So that's baloney, that whole thing. And their sales pitches, solar farms, now they want to store their produce, right? That's their energy. How many these batteries go low every day? You go on an airplane, they're worried about batteries. I think we really got to look into this. It's great that you guys are doing this. The terms they use is a salesman. That's what they're doing. They're getting a lot of grant money from the federal and state. That's what's going on. You know that. If I'm a businessman and I want to do this, I love it. So I'm going to tell you, it's like the people that sold you, the poor ladies on Virginia Slims. Slim, every woman wants to be slim, so you get cancer by smoking our cigarettes. So we don't tell you that part, you know what I'm saying? So this is all baloney. The Marlboro man, so this is the solar farm, where I'm concerned, we need to look at it. And I'm so happy we're doing this. I don't even know if it's the 180 days enough. So, and I trust all of us to work this out somehow. But it's not a picnic, that's for sure. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Well, one thing about moratoriums, if we get into the study of this topic, and I assume we will, once the board votes, if we deem that the 6 months isn't enough time, we can extend it through this process. There'll be another public hearing, and but we can extend it if need be.
I think it's a great idea. You shouldn't say, well, we have to be done in 6 months.
No, we
don't
don't.
have to be done.
We don't.
You're done when you feel comfortable about this situation.
Right.
And I don't feel comfortable about it right now, that's for sure. It's gonna be later,
6 months goes by fast.
It goes quick. Look at the kids, how fast they grow.
Get a little bigger every day. All right, Ray.
I don't know if I can follow that.
Frank is always a tough man to follow, no doubt about it.
Raymond Seymour, 7 Navajo Road, Clifton Park. I just have another question that I don't know if it's important or not, but I am wondering about the chemistry of a lot of the batteries. It's very exotic. I don't pretend to understand it. I had a personal episode with a smartphone. I was getting on a plane. I had my phone turned off, wasn't on, and it was heating up way, way too fast. I was only able to save that phone by going to the flight attendant and asking, can I put this phone in a bag of ice? And that, of course, the phone was destroyed, but at any rate, if you look at what airlines are doing now, they will not allow you to put anything with a lithium-ion battery in any checked luggage or cargo.
Right.
You have to carry it with you. For that reason, very unpredictable. As Mr. Alexander said, age really is nothing to do with it. It is something within that battery we don't know. The other question I have is, I believe that there are other technologies for battery storage. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against battery storage. I think we're probably going to see that throughout the country in probably not that many years. But I think the technology is already there, that there are other batteries with different chemistries that are much safer. They may not have the density of lithium ion, but you don't need to move them around. You're not going to carry them in your pocket. This is an industrial facility that's going to sit there. It's going to sit there hopefully for 30 years. Nobody's going to move it, but it should be the safest technology that they can probably do. It is, I think, way too important. The final point that I would make, I don't know if there are special chemicals or equipment or anything like that that are needed to fight these fires. I'm sure that Kevin's going to find out soon enough. But if you have to have on hand specialized chemicals, specialized equipment, in the case of a fire, you have to have it. I mean, you're just going to need it, or else you're going to have an out of control event.
Right.
And I agree with Joanne. We take for granted a lot of stuff that's very dangerous, with gasoline and all that. We've learned to live with it. We still have accidents. People still die. But this is not, so that's why I'm saying that maybe we can prevent some of that, as Kurt mentioned before. If we think hard and long about this, maybe this will give us an opportunity to do it right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else that would like to speak on this topic?
Can I add one quick point to his? My son, many of you know, is an Air Force pilot, flies the C-130s all over the world, and he flies for Southwest Airlines. So he's experienced the burden that they place on pilots now to make sure that there are not large volumes of lithium-ion batteries on those planes. They won't fly with them on the C-130s. And if they find them on, commercial flights, they take them off. So they like to ban them outright.
Yeah, they do ask you as you go through. Yeah. All right. Any other comments from the board at this time? Okay. With that, we'll close the public hearing. I want to thank everybody who spoke on this very important topic. As we said before, this is newer technology, would be new to the town of Clifton Park, and a moratorium to further study this topic, I think, would be a good measure in ensuring that we have all the information we need. Our first responders have the opportunity to review the topic as well. We look forward to their input, and experts that might live in town or the capital region that also want to offer some important information to the process. So, thank you all. All right, we do have a number of resolutions for consideration. I'll ask Stephanie to read through those.
A resolution adopting local law number 2 of 2025, establishing plan development district number 49, 500 Commerce Drive, Usher's Road, Industrial Park, and to repeal the existing zoning regulations for the district area more fully described in the attached proposed local law by amending local law number 2 of 1967 entitled Local Law Relating to Zonings of the Town of Clifton Park, and local law number 8 of 1991 entitled A Local Law relating to amending local law number 3 of 1985, relating to the zoning map of the town of Clifton Park. A resolution adopting local law 3 of 2025 to establish a 180-day moratorium on battery energy storage systems facilities within the town of Clifton Park. A resolution to approve the bulk water purchase agreement between the Clifton Park Water Authority and the Northwood Water Incorporated. A resolution scheduling a public hearing regarding the creation of the Woodland Hills Park District. A resolution authorizing alcoholic beverages to be served at a gathering to be held at the Clifton Park Senior Community Center on June 14th, 2025.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So now therefore be it resolved that Larry Seidbeck and the Clifton Park dance team are hereby authorized to serve beer and or wine at a gathering at Clifton Park Senior Community Center on June 14th, 2025 from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. consistent with the terms of the permit application received in the office of Clifton Park Senior Community Center. A resolution increasing the other programs senior center revenues and expenditures by $6,166. Now therefore be it resolved that revenues in general fund donations are hereby increased by $6,166 and expenditures general fund senior center other programs is also increased by $6,166. A resolution authorizing the rental of 31 portable light towers from United Rentals for the July 4th celebration at Clifton Common. Now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is authorized to sign an agreement with United Rentals for the rental of 31 portable light towers for the 2025 July 4th celebration at Clifton Common, and be it further resolved that the comptroller is authorized to pay $6,111 for the rental and round trip delivery of these 31 portable light towers from account General Fund Festivals July 4th Fest. A resolution accepting funds from Amara Garay and authorizing the Department of Building and Grounds to purchase one 8-foot contour in-ground mount bench with engraving. Now therefore be it resolved that the comptroller is authorized to increase revenues to general funds, gifts, and donations by $1,634 and increase expenditures in general fund Bishop Ferry Nature Preserve equipment by $1,634, and be it further resolved that the Director of Buildings, Parks and Recreation is authorized to accept the quote of Jamestown Advanced Products as the lowest responsive quote for the purchase of one 8-foot contour in-ground mount bench to be installed at Bishop Ferry Preserve at a cost not to exceed $1,634. A resolution authorizing the installation of a new radiator and the emergency backup generator for the Town Hall building. Now therefore be it resolved that the Patriot on-site generator service is authorized to supply and install a new radiator and the emergency backup generator for the Town Hall building at a cost not to exceed $6,019 to be paid from General Fund Public Safety Building Equipment. A resolution authorizing the purchase of 2 plow trucks for town lands and highway department purposes from piggyback contract with Onondaga County. Now therefore be resolved that the highway department is authorized to purchase 2 2026 Western Star 47X trucks with Henderson plow body and plow package from Tracy Road Equipment Inc., East Syracuse, New York, per the attached list, and be it further resolved that the Clifton Park Town Board hereby authorizes the purchase under Onondaga Contract 0010914 in an amount not to exceed $674,586 to be paid for by municipal lease terms to be determined. A resolution authorizing slip lining of damaged storm water pipes under portions of streets in 8 town locations to be performed by Precision Trenchless Schenectady. Now therefore be it resolved that the Highway Department is authorized to accept the proposal from Precision Trenchless of Schenectady per the attached in an amount not to exceed $230,898, and be it further resolved that the comptroller is authorized to transfer from assigned fund balance $30,898 to Highway Fund General Repair slip lining pipes, which will cover the total cost of $230,898. A resolution affirming the purchase of a new funnel plow for Highway Vehicle Unit Number 67. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board affirms the purchase by the Highway Department to purchase the Tenco 11-foot one-way plow in the amount not to exceed $11,631 to be paid from Highway Fund Machinery Highway Vehicles. A resolution authorizing the receiver of taxes and assessments to attend the New York State Association of Tax Receivers and Collectors Seminar. Now therefore be it resolved that Rose Sabullo is hereby authorized to attend the Tax Collector Seminar in Lake George, New York from June 8th through 11th, 2025 at a cost not to exceed $910, which includes registration fee, lodging and meals to be vouchered appropriately and to be paid from budget line, general fund, tax collector, travel and conferences. A resolution hiring seasonal lifeguards, head lifeguards, and summer half-day and full-day camp staff for the 2025 summer season. Now therefore be it resolved that the individuals listed on the attached schedules A, B, C, D, and E shall be hired as lifeguards, head lifeguards, and summer day camp staff for the 2025 season to be paid at rates noted and charged to the appropriate accounts as noted. A resolution increasing revenues and expenditures to reflect a $5,102 of a Justice Court Assistance Program grant and that Clifton Park Town Court has received. Now therefore be it resolved that the budget will be increased by $5,102 in appropriations A3089 and expenditures will be increased the same $5,102 in A-1110-4. A resolution authorizing the Director of Safety and Security to purchase 12 new automatic external defibrillators, AEDs, from Rescue One Training for Life, Inc., through Saratoga County Contract 25-OESD-2, and 1 automatic external defibrillator cabinet from AED Brands, and to accept funds from Star Point Church. Now therefore be it resolved that the Director of Safety and Security is authorized to place an order for 12 AEDs from Rescue One Training for Life, Inc., for Saratoga County Contract 25-OESD-2 in the amount not to exceed $15,628 to be offset by a $5,000 donation received from Star Point Church, and to place an order for 1 AED external cabinet from AED Brands in an amount not to exceed $647. And be it further resolved that the comptroller is authorized to increase revenues to general fund gifts and donations by $5,000 and increase expenditures in general fund safety equipment by $5,000, and be it further resolved that the comptroller is authorized to transfer $11,275 from contingency to general fund safety equipment to pay the balance.
Hey, very good, thank you. If you could read the headings and we'll consider each resolution individually.
Okay. Resolution number 67 of 2025, a resolution adopting local law number 2 of 2025, establishing Plan Development District number 49 at 500 Commerce Drive, Ushers Road Industrial Park, and to repeal the existing zoning regulations for the district area more fully described in the attached proposed local law by amending local law number 2 of 1967, entitled Local Law Relating to Zoning for the Town of Clifton Park, and local law number 8 of 1991, entitled A Local Law Relating to Amending Local Law number 3 of 1985, relating to zoning, to the zoning map of the Town of Clifton Park.
Second.
All right, so we just had the public hearing on this application. Any further discussion on this item? Okay.
Councilman Riley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Meunier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallet?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 68 of 2025, a resolution adopting local law 3 of 2025 to establish a 180-day moratorium on battery energy storage systems facilities within the town of Clifton Park.
Second.
Well, we had several speakers. Again, I want to thank everybody for their input, although there was a little bit of a disagreement on some segments of the topic. I think overall, everybody agreed that moratorium on this topic would be a good idea. And in my individual conversations with the town board, it seems as though there's a lot of support for this. So it is on the agenda tonight. Is there any further discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
I'd like to also thank not only the members of the Environmental Conservation Commission who came before us last month with a very informative presentation on this topic. I also thank everyone who spoke tonight. There's certainly a lot to think about. While I understand and appreciate the push for renewable energy and innovative solutions to our energy needs, progress should never come at the cost of safety, well-being, and the quality of life of our residents. And that, I believe, is precisely what is at stake here. The proponents of this battery storage facility paint a picture of a clean, efficient energy solution. They highlight potential benefits for the grid and the environment, but they conveniently gloss over the inherent risks associated with these facilities, risks that are simply too significant to ignore. We must consider the safety implications. These facilities contain massive quantities of volatile and potentially flammable materials. Even with the best safety measures in place, the risk of fire, explosion, and release of toxic fumes and chemicals remains a very real threat to our homes, our properties, to our environment, and to our first responders. I ask my fellow council members, can we afford to gamble with the safety of our families, our children, and our homes? Can we in good conscience expose ourselves to the potential for catastrophic events simply to accommodate this technology? We are responsible citizens who care deeply about our community, and therefore it is imperative that we educate ourselves, we ask questions, and we demand answers. We deserve to have a full and transparent discussion about the potential risks and benefits of this project. We must prioritize the safety and well-being of our community above all else, and we cannot stand idly by while that safety and well-being is put at risk. I urge you all to join me in supporting a thorough and transparent investigation into the risks associated with these facilities. Together we can protect our town and ensure a bright and safe future for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, we've heard a lot of good points, both during the public hearing and the initial presentation. The concern regarding the first responders and what it takes to control and extinguish a fire if it were to occur is a very important part of this process. So we look forward to hearing from our first responders about their concerns and what it would take to properly respond and keep a fire like this contained at all costs, and eventually deal with the cleanup. So there's many different elements to this topic that need to be discussed. And it really affects not only the residents of Clifton Park in the Rexford area or the western part of town, because of some interest in locating a battery storage system there, but the entire town. Frank had mentioned, why don't they put it at the shopping mall? Well, I guess there are strategic areas where a battery energy storage system would be a preferred location. One example is a solar array. Another example is in the vicinity of a major part of the transmission system of the grid. So there's, I don't know enough about it to really get into the details there, but that's why a moratorium is important and something that we should take at least 6 months to study this issue and also get input from our first responders as well as anybody who's concerned about the evolution of these systems. Anyone else?
Yes,
Yes, Mr. Manero.
thank you, Councilman Reed. I agree with you. Safety come first, and also listening to that presentation, seems like we are not enough research been done yet in both sides, and we should take time. That's why holding it for 180 days is a good idea. And then after we review after 180 days, and if we take more time, we take more time.
Yep. Yep. Thank you, Mr. Morales.
Yeah, I mean, I echo my colleagues' comments. Certainly, the number of comments from residents both tonight that I've gotten feedback on and correspondence. I know town clerk has received some correspondence. It's incumbent upon us as a board. Our residents' concerns are concerns, so it makes sense to take the time to be thoughtful about next steps with regard to this topic. Two things stood out to me. One, you alluded to it, Supervisor, that there was some disagreement in the room on those hazards and the potential impact. To me, that right there is a red flag that warrants taking a pause. And then secondly, obviously, Kevin Bowman, who's an expert in firefighting, is one of our fire district's board of commissioners chairman, doesn't stated the training doesn't exist for this sort of technology. And if the training and the equipment for first responders should be coming before a potential hazard being cited in our town. So certainly we want to put the cart, the horse before the cart here, and take our time to be thoughtful in our approach. So I do recommend that we move forward with this moratorium, put together a group to look at this deeper and see where we are in 180 days.
Very good. Thank you. All right.
I think,
I'm sorry.
thank Tiffany Morelli for bringing out the issue of the firefighters and the EMT. As representative to the SAB, we spent a lot of time talking about that last week. And each are concerned with budget issues. The extra equipment that you would need and the extra training impacts the budget, which impacts the tax district. And it's a very important issue to them. And also they're looking at the geography of their areas and going where. So I asked each company to respond to us, and I'm looking forward to learning. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, and thank you for engaging that discussion at ESAB, and
interesting.
Yeah, that's great. Any information you can bring to us from their discussion, please do. Okay. Stephanie?
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Minier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Norwood?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 69 of 2025, a resolution to approve the bulk water purchase agreement between Clifton Park Water Authority and Northwood Water Company Incorporated.
So moved.
All right, we had a presentation by the Clifton Park Water Authority at the town board meeting not long ago about the two connections that they've been working on. One in the town of Malta and one that involves the town of Half Moon. And since that presentation, I did email the Malta Town Board asking them for, because they also have a role in this, obviously, it's in the town of Malta in this particular case, and asked them for their view on the matter before we took action. They came back with a positive referral, if you will. They did have a vote on the Malta Town Board, so they are ready and willing to move ahead with this connection if the town of Clifton Park votes in favor of this extension. So we do have that. Other than that, nothing additional to the presentation that was made. Any comments, questions? Okay.
I just think it's important that we go forward with this, because these people need to have clean drinking water.
Yeah, we've had this discussion at the county water authority level as well. I'm the treasurer of the Saratoga County Water Authority, and there's many water systems that will be dealing with this issue. Right now, the PFAS levels that are allowed within the sampling of a water system will be reduced significantly. So if there's a water system that currently meets the standard, when those standards are lowered, which we expect to happen, then some of them won't meet the new standard. And this is a private water company that could be in that position. So, we did have that discussion there as well in detail about that segment of this, of the prospect of allowing this connection. So from my viewpoint, I think that's an important part of this equation that we offer Clifton Park water. We have the supply, we have the ability to do so, and having this connection, if it helps the private water system to make this connection, then it's something that, and by the way, they are paying for this. I want to remind everybody, there's no expense to the Clifton Park Water Authority regarding the connection itself. But so that's an important point. I want to make sure it doesn't get lost. But allowing the connection will provide them with water, a new source, and they won't have to have those concerns about the PFAS levels in their current water supply. Okay? All right, Stephanie?
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Meunier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallet?
Yes.
Vice Mayor.
Yes.
Resolution number 70 of 2025, a resolution scheduling a public hearing regarding creation of the Woodland Hills Park District.
Second.
All right, so I was invited to a neighborhood meeting of the Woodland Hills neighborhood. They currently don't have a park district. Many neighborhoods throughout the town do have park districts that allow for the care of public areas and signage and other needs within the development. At that meeting, I was asked if about the prospect of a park district being created, and I committed to putting together a plan that would outline exactly what would be taken care of, all the public areas, the signage. Worked with Dan Clemens and John Scavo to get down to the detail of the estimated cost of mowing, plantings, general maintenance in the public areas. And took that plan, mailed it to everybody within the neighborhood and that would be affected by a park district. I invited everybody to a follow-up meeting here at Town Hall to go through the plan, answer questions. It was a good turnout of people within the proposed district of Woodland Hills, and it was overwhelming support to move forward to have a public hearing and a discussion about the possible creation of a park district. Ultimately, it's the decision of the town board to do so. The town board acts as the commissioners of all the park districts. So having this public hearing will allow us to once again go through that plan and answer any questions and offer the opportunity to anybody in the neighborhood to express their feelings about creating a park district. So again, I want to thank John and Dan Clemens for all the work that they did to get the plan together. We did that internally, and there were some very good questions at our neighborhood meeting that they attended. But overall, I think it gave everybody a clear understanding of what's involved and what they can expect if a park district is created. So public hearing is, if we vote affirmatively on this, would be scheduled for April 21st at 7:02. I'll get notice out to the neighborhood that the public hearing will happen at that time. And based on the feedback we received that evening, town board will consider on whether to move forward with the creation of the park district or not. Okay? Any questions, discussion? Okay, more to come on the 21st. Stephanie?
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Minier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallet?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 71 of 2025, a resolution authorizing alcoholic beverages to be served at a gathering to be held at the Clifton Park Senior Community Center on June 14th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have two resolutions on the agenda. No, not, do we have two or just the one? For the authorization to serve alcohol in a town park or at a town facility. In this case, is the Bokingbrook Dance Team, and they have an annual event at the Clifton Park Senior Community Center, and they're asking to have us authorize them to serve alcohol at the event. Any discussion? Okay. Stephanie?
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Minier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallet?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 72 of 2025, a resolution increasing the other programs senior center revenues and expenditures by $6,166.
So moved.
Second.
Hey, we have an annual fashion show that's put on by the Clifton Park Senior Community Center. This will account for the revenues coming in and the expenses going out. It's a fundraising opportunity for the center. They do fundraisers from time to time. We just recently did a big improvement in the lobby area that you all saw. It came out very nice. That was part of those funds. So we wish them a very successful event. Discussion. Okay.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Minier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallet?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 73 of 2025, a resolution authorizing the rental of 31 portable light towers from United Rentals for the July 4th celebration at Clifton Common.
So moved.
All right, every July 4th, we rent a lot of light towers. This year is no different. Discussion.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Minier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallet?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 74 of 2025, a resolution accepting funds from America Delay and authorizing the Department of Building and Grounds to purchase one 8-foot contour in-ground mount bench with engraving.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, this is a donation to the town of Clifton Park, and this will be a nice addition to the Bishop Ferry Preserve. Any discussion?
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Minier? Councilwoman
Yes.
Wallet?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 75 of 2025, a resolution authorizing the installation of a new radiator and the emergency backup generator for the town hall building.
Okay, this item is needed to make sure that our emergency generator at Town Hall is working effectively and efficiently. Discussion. Okay, so,
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Minier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallet?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
yes.
Resolution number 76 of 2025, a resolution authorizing the purchase of 2 plow trucks for town lands and highway department purposes from piggyback contract with Onondaga County.
So
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Minier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallet?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 77 of 2025, a resolution authorizing slip lining of damaged stormwater pipes under portions of the streets in 8 town locations to be performed by Precision Trenchless of Schenectady.
second.
Okay, discussion?
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Lanier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallet?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 78 of 2025, a resolution affirming the purchase of a new funnel plow for a highway vehicle unit number 67.
So moved.
Discussion?
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Lanier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallet? Yes. Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 79 of 2025, a resolution authorizing the receiver of taxes and assessments to attend the New York State Association of Tax Receivers and Collectors Seminar.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Lanier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallet?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 80 of 2025, a resolution hiring seasonal lifeguards, head lifeguards, and summer half-day and full-day camp staff for the 2025 summer season.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Lanier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallet? Yes. Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 81 of 2025, a resolution increasing revenues and expenditures to reflect a $5,102 of a Justice Court Assistance Program grant that the Clifton Park Town Court has received.
Move.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Lanier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallet?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 82 of 2025, a resolution authorizing the Director of Safety and Security to purchase 12 new automatic external defibrillators, AEDs, from the Rescue One Training for Life Incorporated through Saratoga County Contract 25 OESD-2, and one automatic external defibrillator cabinet from AED Brands to accept funds from Star Point Church.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, and the second part of that involves a donation from Star Point Church. I do want to thank them very much. This is the second year that they've donated new AEDs to the town of Clifton Park. We have a number of AEDs that need to be replaced, and we are utilizing a county bid. County's put out a couple of bids, and the prices have been very attractive, so good to take advantage of that opportunity. And again, thank you, Star Point Church, for the donation. Any discussion?
Yeah, Lou, I assume you already have a list of where these are going, or is that still
Yes.
TBD?
I've got a list already.
Last year, I think you may recall, we placed one over by Veterans Park. I think Officer Amiot did
Correct.
a training session for some of the folks up there. If there are other places like that, I don't know, ball fields and parks, that maybe we could offer a few in-person impromptu training sessions. I know we have a video that's online, we can repost, but nothing beats in person. And I know specifically that officer, I'm sure anyone on your team could do it. I think that'd be helpful. Some members of the public might partake and might help in time of need. So just a thought.
You can handle that.
Very good. Further discussion? Thanks, Tom.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Lanier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallet? Supervisor Barrett?
Yes. All right, thank you much. At this point, I'd like to entertain a motion to enter executive session to discuss legal proceedings and contract negotiations.
Second.
Right, we'll be in executive session for approximately 30 minutes. If we take action in executive session, that will be reported in open session. More likely that there's possible action that would be taken only in the open session. So,
We want to offer public privilege prior to going in.
yeah, might as well do that now. Well, first, is there any other business to come before the board? Okay. Anybody that would like to speak in public privilege? Yeah?
I'm good.
Okay. All right, so with that, if we could vote on going into executive session?
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed?
Yes.
Councilman Lanier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallet? Yes. Supervisor Barrett?
Yes, thank you.
shall return.
Will do. Oh, yeah. No, they're doing good.
Saturday and Saturday at the same time. First time you're alone, first time you put the car seat in by yourself, you're going somewhere.